I've been really ashamed to confess this because I'm afraid of making healthcare workers look bad, but there is a shadow side of mental health and crisis workers that you may not be aware of. If you go back to 2020, it was just weeks after the pandemic hit. I was not doing well. I was lost. I was feeling suicidal, and I was so desperate and so depressed. I was literally ready to throw myself off a balcony. And I had a close friend at the time who was a social worker, and he specialized in 5150s, which is the crisis call for emergency help. He stepped in, he saw what I was going through, and fuck, I was so fucking grateful at the time. And through all of that, I had to push through so much medical red tape. I was able to get a diagnosis for my ADHD and was even able to find a therapist who specialized with that type of neurodivergence. And because of the way the pandemic really fucked up the system, it was a blessing because I was able to access medications within a few short weeks. But this guy, the social worker, he and I, through the pandemic, were really lonely. And at the time, we started off in a platonic relationship, but as time went on, this turned romantic. Oh my God, and it was intense. I never thought I was so in love in my whole life. And this went on for weeks. It was magical, and I kept thinking, oh my God, the person who I consider to be my best friend is also now an amazing lover. But I was so intoxicated at the time, I didn't see the red flags. And it started out in a way that didn't feel too bad. It was just a few little jabs about me being white trash. But then he started poking fun at me when we were around other people, just mocking me as though he was embarrassed that I was standing next to him. And then there was the ultimate red flag. During one of my therapy sessions, he started calling my phone incessantly, and it's therapy. So I'm like, ignore, I'll get back to him later. And eventually he kept calling, and I'm like, what? And he's like, hey, I'm outside your place. And I said, can I get back to you? I'm in the middle of therapy. I don't know. Maybe you should come on out and see me. I wrapped up my therapy session and I went outside, and there he was standing next to a crisis response vehicle. Like, he showed up at my place in an official capacity. At least I thought it was official at first. But it turns out all he was looking for was a little lunchtime nookie. That little motherfucker showed up at my doorstep, interrupted my therapy, my life-saving therapy session, just so that he could impress me with a crisis response vehicle and get some nookie. And the worst part is, I kind of thought it was sweet at first. In hindsight, I now know he was abusing his power. I didn't know it at the time, but I was under some kind of weird spell. He liked to use hypnosis as a toy, and it's known as hypnoplay. But through that, he made me believe that I was madly in love with him. And he kept saying things, I love you, I'm so grateful for you, I thank God for you, and it felt so good. It's like love became my drug. But I started to develop some phantom symptoms, like dizziness, memory loss, sleep paralysis, and I was constantly in a trance. I couldn't focus on anything despite my life-saving medications. And to top it all off, he started seeing another woman behind my back. He was enamored with her skin tone, and I mean obsessed. But I was pissed. He was calling me white trash, but then he was worshiping this ebony goddess. I couldn't take it anymore. After months of this bullshit going on, I finally had to find my self-respect and end the relationship. But when the relationship ended, my confusion, my dizziness, and my pain, it didn't resolve. For some sick, twisted reason, it started to amplify. I wanted to resolve the relationship. I wanted my friend back, but I couldn't get my resolution despite trying to talk to him about it. Why? Because he was a fucking predator. A 5150 crisis worker love bombed me, and he used his position of power to subjugate and humiliate me. And anyone in the mental health industry, I hope you are outraged by this story, because mental health is an essential tenet to a happy, thriving, and healthy civilization. That's why I started on my journey to study metaphysical sciences. I needed to know why I was attracted and fooled by someone in power. I feel ashamed to admit it, but I think I'm still in love with him. But as I look back, I know something more about myself. I had no connection to God, and it left me vulnerable to power-hungry predators. That's why it's critical that I take time on a daily basis to meditate and spend time with my higher self. It's not a lifestyle choice. It is essential. If there's one thing that I could encourage you from this genuinely heartbreaking story, is to find your love from within. Find your love from your higher self, your goddess, your God self. Because as long as you try to find love outside of you, you open yourself up to the predators. You open yourself up to the love bombers. And I don't want that for you, and I don't think you want that either. And if you have, take some time, connect to that higher self, and forgive yourself. You didn't know back then, but you know now. And that's actually what matters. Sending you all the berries.